Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Gulf Coast Market Coffee Break. I'm Meredith Harris, and I've also got a few colleagues here with me. We are part of the Gaddy team, which is housed in the office of RE/MAX of Orange Beach. This is our first ever podcast, but we're going to make this a monthly endeavor to bring you updates about what's happening in the market down here and to also hopefully educate you on some subject matter that's important to people buying or selling real estate. But as I said, my name is Meredith Harris, and I'm going to toss it over to Jeff and Katie to introduce themselves.
Go ahead, Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie Lanowski-Norris.
I'm Jeff Brooks, and we have the lovely Maureen Young from Bar Group. Can you introduce yourself and tell us all about yourself?
Absolutely. My name's Maureen Young, and I am with Bar Group Mortgage. We are a local mortgage company that has been in the Gulf Shores area for almost 25 years. And we specialize in first-time home buyers, second homes, and a lot of the condo market down here. We can do, if you need to finance it, we can help you.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good way to sum it up, Mo, because pretty much they do everything. I first met Bar Group, doing a loan personally, and that's how I got connected with Mo. She's been a great help to all of us sitting here with you today. And so what we wanted to do is bring Mo in and ask her a few questions about, the process. Because, I didn't even realize it until I started going through this process recently myself in another state to purchase an investment property. But there's a lot to the mortgage process these days. So if you haven't had a mortgage in a long time, or if you're a first-time home buyer, there's a lot you need to know.
And you need somebody like Maureen and the Bar Group to help you make it easy. So, maybe we jump in and, when should I contact you if I'm thinking about buying something to get a loan?
Well, that's a very good question. Specifically, it is best, it's always best if you can get pre-qualified, get pre-approved before you start shopping. So that way you approach your real estate agent with confidence. You qualify for X amount of dollars, and I can provide a pre-approval letter to match whatever offer that you might be presenting on their behalf.
How long does that typically take from when I want to make the application to get pre-qual?
Well, typically, if I say you made an application today, I would do my very best to have you pre-approved today.
Wow.
There's determining factors like, are you self-employed? Will I need to see your 2 years tax return history there? Or are you a W-2 employee where it is somewhat easier to qualify? We can look at a year-to-date pay stub or some past year's W-2s for income qualifying.
Very good.
So I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I know I've seen it a lot. People will come to me, buyers, and they'll say, I think I can afford $2,000 a month. So let's find a property where my payment's going to be $2,000 a month. And I say, well, how did you come to that decision? And they say, well, that's what I'm spending on rent, so that's what I'm going to spend on a mortgage. And I know that's not what you guys look at to qualify somebody for a loan. It's not what you think you can afford. It's a lot more complex than that. Can you kind of break that down a little bit?
Well, we always like to ask that question, especially with first-time buyers, what you're paying in rent right now. So we have an idea of what they're comfortable spending monthly. But the breakdown there, we really will pull a credit report, we'll analyze the income, and then we do a calculation based on your current income versus your current debts on your credit report to calculate your debt to income ratio. And then we also factor in escrows. You have principal and interest on a monthly mortgage payment, but most people escrow your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. And so all of that comes together. And some neighborhoods have association dues, etc., which factors into the total monthly housing expense. So all of those things play a role in getting to the total monthly payment. But yeah, it's very good to come to us first so you have an idea. We have the conversation before you speak to your realtor, and then we can work together as a team.
So you've covered a whole bunch of the information that you might ask for from somebody. You do all that up front, and does it takes like a day to get the prequal, but sort of what's the whole process like, and how long does it take?
From start to finish?
Yeah.
So once you go under contract, that's when we have a fully signed contract from y'all, then we get started. Once you're pre-approved, we make sure we've provided a pre-approval letter to the realtors, and then we get started. We turn in the file to our processing team. I go ahead and send you a homework list of the missing documents I might not have already requested. We'll want your bank statements. We're going to want your driver's license, funds for closing, all the fun questions. So we ask you for a lot at the beginning of the process, and we're going to become best friends because literally I will be talking to you and your realtor on a daily basis for the next 30 days. And so, it is a process.
So I know when we bought our last house, not only did you want to know where the down payment funds were coming from out of my bank account, they asked me how they got into the bank account.
Absolutely.
So they had me go back and show them where that money came from to get into the account.
Yes.
It can be a stressful process, but a good lender will be able to sort of give you little assignments at a time and not overwhelm the buyer.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the talent that you guys have is trying to keep it as stress-free as possible.
Absolutely. And especially for first-time buyers, we hold their hand through the entire process.
Yes.
Once we get the file, we get all your documentation, we ask if the home inspection's been done. Once you guys feel good about the home inspection report and you've discussed that with, buyers and sellers, and you give me the green light and the thumbs up to proceed, then we will order your appraisal. And from there, your file gets submitted to an underwriter. The underwriter may take a day or two to review your file, analyze everything we've presented, and then they'll come back with a list of conditions. So at that time, you're conditionally approved. And around about the same time, your appraisal comes back. So we send you a copy of your appraisal report. And then from there, there'll be a shorter list of things that are needed. Again, we're there guiding you through, helping you get those requested documents. And then once we have received everything, your appraisal and your file is resubmitted for a final approval from the underwriting team. And then once that comes back, you are officially approved. My favorite email to send is your cleared to close.
Clear to close.
That's our favorite email.
And how long does that take, or what's sort of normal? And if somebody's trying to do it quickly or wants it to take a little longer, sort of what's that time?
From start to finish, standard time is 30 days in our market. There are other, factors depending on sellers' needs, if they're able to get out of the property in that amount of time. Sometimes buyer or seller's needs may want to accelerate that process and close quicker than that. So if you have a quick close date, I always say a lot of that swiftness of the timeline will be determined by how fast the buyers respond to my emails. I'll send an email, but I'll also pick up the phone. Hey, we really need this today.
Yeah.
Insurance can be a holdup from time to time. That's a third party that we don't have control over. But depending on the buyer, the needs, we will put a priority in a rush, with certain circumstances. But 30 days is standard.
I have one question.
Yes.
What possible hiccups could you come along? What should a buyer be aware of not to do during that loan application process? Because this occasionally comes up. What do you recommend they don't do?
Okay.
You want them to respond as quickly as possible and stay on task, but what shouldn't they do?
Absolutely. Well, we do have a do's and don'ts list
Good. Okay.
that we do provide at the very beginning of the file.
That's smart.
I don't know if it always gets read, but some big do nots. Don't quit your job if you're getting a mortgage. Don't go out and buy all brand new appliances for the home that you have not closed on yet. Like, don't go to Lowe's. Don't go buy a brand new boat, brand new car. So when we look at your credit report, we say we take a snapshot of your credit at the beginning of that 30-day timeline. And we don't want that snapshot to change by the time you get to closing. Because if you do make a large purchase, an underwriter will do one final credit inquiry like the day or two right before you close, just to make sure that you have not bought that brand new car. Because if you have a new car, that means you have a new car payment, which changes your debt ratio, which changes your whole loan.
But I'm moving here. I'm gonna need a boat.
You're gonna need a boat. But
So I
you
should
know
wait
what?
until after I close.
Yes.
Okay.
Sign those closing
Okay.
documents first, please.
So basically, no new lines of credit, not even a
Correct.
credit card.
Correct.
Okay.
Don't go shopping for new beach clothes and put it on a credit card.
No.
Don't open up a credit card at Ann Taylor. Don't do anything.
Just keep things steady.
Yeah, just stay steady through your loan process
It's
and
1
get
month.
to closing. So I've
can do
had
that.
customers tell me in years past that when those big sales come up at Home Depot and Lowe's, like on Memorial Day weekend, all the appliance packages go on sale. They have told me, or they have called me, hey Mo, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but it's a really good deal. And I just say, don't do it. If you can just hold out. So they tell me I'm just sitting on their shoulder, whispering in their ear, don't do it.
It's for
Am I-
it's for your best
Yeah, but you're
interest.
the angel on your shoulder.
Well, you know what I'd do if I needed a whole appliance package before I closed? I'm gonna call Katie. Say, Katie, I need you to front me about $10,000.
No
I'm buying new appliances.
No problem.
I'll get you back after closing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I tell people if you have the cash set aside and it won't affect your funds for closing, that's okay. But I don't necessarily need to know about it.
But key takeaway is don't do it.
Don't do
Don't
it.
do it.
So let's maybe back up a bit to sort of the beginning. I've got the pre-approval letter. I'm ready to call, one of us three and go find my house. What happens if it takes me a little while to find what I'm looking for?
Right.
That's a good question. So you will just stay pre-approved in my system
Okay.
For how long?
indefinitely.
Forever?
So there is a new process. We pull regular credit, which is considered a hard pull. If I know you're shopping and you're about to make an offer, I would pull a regular credit report. I do have the ability now to do a soft inquiry. So it will not hit your credit report.
Very good.
So, for instance, say you're coming down to shop in April. You're from out of town, but you want to go ahead and get everything ironed out before you get here. I can do a soft inquiry, have a very good idea of where your credit's going to be, what your whole picture looks like, and give our blessing or pre-approval verbally before you arrive. And then your application stays good on our system while you're shopping. And then when you come down in April, you find the house of your dreams, you're ready,
You're ready.
then we'll pull credit.
Having
So-
that prequal letter in hand, ready, when you're about to put in your offer, and you can
Yes.
present that to a seller with your offer.
Yes.
It says, I've done my homework. I am a good buyer. You can trust me.
Yes.
I've got Mo behind me.
Yes.
Our money is good, and we're ready.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think it says I'm ready to buy.
Yes.
It's a prepared buyer.
Absolutely.
Serious.
It just makes you, you're more qualified than the other offers. And we know the market right now is so crazy. You want to be the most qualified buyer
Yeah.
that's out there.
Well, and I think a lot of people, when you're shopping back home in a small town America and you know everybody and you know all the bankers, it's a whole lot different than when you come down here to buy a condo or a beach house and you're competing with people across the entire United States and sometimes around the world. I mean, everybody wants to come down to the Alabama Gulf Coast, and you can, look behind us. This is beautiful. You can see why. But to me, if I have you as a buyer, I have to have that pre-qualification letter because it makes your offer stand out above someone else's.
Absolutely.
And a pre-qualification letter from a local lender, not someone out of state.
Yeah.
Which,
Let me ask more about that local lender because, I've been here a little while. I'm not a native. I got here as fast as I could. But my personal experience, the insurance was different here. The property taxes were different here. We've got flood zones in some places here. Seems like all of that might make a difference in trying to figure out how to qualify some for a
Yes.
loan as well. Does it?
Absolutely. I like to ask the question when, I obviously want to chat with one of y'all when we're getting started to see what facts you know about the buyer. I reach out to the buyer themselves, find out what community they're most interested in. Is it going to be Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, or is it going to be Foley, Summerdale, Robertsdale? So depending on the town location, the taxes and the insurance are going to be slightly different. And so those factors do play a role, and we like to just have those questions at the beginning of the process so we all help them be fully aware of, what they could expect those taxes and insurance to be.
I like what you said about being on a team. I mean, that's very much how we feel is
Yes.
we're all on a team together. And
Yes.
our goal is to help the buyer make, get their goals,
Yes.
as best they can.
Absolutely.
Reach their goals and make their dream come true.
Good skill set balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who's your numbers person?
Well, I work with Helga James, who is the owner of Bar Grape Mortgage. She is our owner and broker. She started the business with her father about 24 years ago, actually. And I've been on her team for 8 years, and we've worked really well together. She is the number cruncher. She is the one who's watching those interest rates for everyone on the daily basis, if not hourly basis, during the workday. And knows the best time to lock in your interest rate. And yeah.
do you want to know who our numbers guy is?
Let's take a guess.
Well, she said guy, so, but I perceive you as the process and the personality that helps us sort of get through it. So,
Yes.
and I really appreciate that. So
Well,
thanks.
communication is key through the loan process. And that's something you'll find when you work with a local lender is communication from myself, from my team. We'll call you nights and weekends. I know what y'all's schedules are like. You're never off the clock. And so living here, working in this environment with y'all, if you need a pre-approval on a Saturday, I'm going to be your girl.
Yep.
So that's just the way that it is.
And unfortunately for Mo, I've made that call before.
I tried to get
No help.
I tried to get somebody to call you Saturday. So.
Well, there you go.
Weekends are busy.
Yep.
Yeah, weekends are busy down here in the real estate world because we're usually showing on Saturdays and Sundays when the vacation rentals turn, which means a checkout and then before the next check-in.
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions on sort of the easy, the 101 getting started part today?
I think she's covered it for me. Can you think of anything else that we might want to?
No, that's
Well,
been very helpful.
I think we do
Very
want to
good.
plant a seed for the next one because you talked about, a bunch of different types of loans. We talked about houses for people to live in, houses for people to have a second home, and rentals. We should probably do a series on that or
The different types
or
of
WebEx
loans.
on that.
Absolutely.
Coming up next month. No, Yeah, I think I'm just so grateful that we have Mo as such a fantastic resource. She is always available and she is so personable and easy to work with. So
As you can see.
yeah, so thank you for being here. And if I could take a point of personal privilege, I would love to ask Jeff if he could, if you could see the coffee mugs that we're all drinking out of. This is the Taylor Brooks Foundation, and if Jeff would you kind of fill us in and tell us about the Taylor
Sure.
Brooks Foundation?
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. Taylor Brooks Foundation is a 501c3 that helps children with cancer. It started Thanksgiving of 2007. Our daughter was going through outpatient treatment. She found out that all of the rooms were full at the hospital she was at during Thanksgiving and said, well, that's going to happen at Christmas. Let's have a Christmas party. She did. And then when she passed the next April, my wife and I said we can't let that stop, and so we set up the foundation. To date, we have funded 3 fellowships, doctors that are going to go and do research specific into childhood cancer, which is very different from adult cancer. Even leukemia treatments for children are very different than leukemia treatments for adults. This last September, that very first fellow we funded was going to start some new research in solid tumors, and we helped fund that fairly significantly for a little foundation in September. Over the years, we have delivered about 40,000 donuts on Sunday morning to the hospitals because through the week it's really busy. The kids have teachers and service dogs and all sorts of things going on. The weekend, there's nobody there. So that Sunday morning before church donut was pretty important. We've delivered 10,000 goodie sort of activity kits to the hospitals. You can find or make up a holiday every month of the year. So we sent one to every room every month. And we've had 20-something Christmas in July parties since then with meals and gifts. We are sort of in transition with a move here. So we've started reaching out to the Ronald McDonald houses here to get our feet on the ground and understand what the needs are here. At some point we'll figure out how to get into Pensacola and Mobile and maybe impact the doctors and the research that's happening.
Thank you,
Did
Jeff.
I cover it?
Yeah, I think so. Well,
Very good.
If you want more information, I don't know if you can see the coffee mug, but it's TaylorBrooksFoundation.org.
Actually, it's a little easier to find us on Facebook these days.
Okay.
Just look for the Taylor Brooks Foundation on Facebook. And, if you want to join, send us a ping. We'll let you in. And there's an About section there as well. So thanks.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you for all being here. This has been fun, and we're going to do this every month. So you can catch this on our Gaddy Team website and on our personal Facebook pages and websites as well. And thank you so much for being here, and we'll
Cheers.
see you next month. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As promised, we have some market statistics. This is our stat man. Once again, Jeff Brooks. I'm Katie Lanowski-Norris and
Meredith Harris.
And Jeff Brooks, we're all with Remax of Orange Beach on the Gotti team. And this is a follow-up to our review with Mo on initial loans and how to get through that process. Since we were thinking it was often first-time buyers or maybe someone new to the market, we went and looked at 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 to 2,000 square foot homes in the Baldwin County area and a number of cities, and just looked at what the price for those homes were in January of 2022 and January of 2023. I'll give you some of those numbers, but the big message that I got was the entire county saw an increase of about 6% on those prices over that year. And if I look at a number of the cities, there were a couple of cities that were 14 to 20%. There's even one here at 35% increase that I think is probably a little skewed by waterfront and some other changes in that city. But, as an example, Foley in January of 2022, the median house price was about $275,000. What's the median? Well, half of the houses sold for less than that 275, and half the houses sold for more than that 275. Well, in Foley in January of 2023, that number was $313,000. Let's look at another place, Loxley, a little further north. The reason we want to look there is, we've got a new school going in there, a couple of distributions, and a couple of factories coming to that area. We think that area is going to grow. And in January of 2022, it was $250,000 for that house. This year, it was $277,000. Any cities you guys are sort of particularly interested in?
No, I think focusing on Foley. Foley is one of the fastest growing areas or cities down here in this area. I mean, they're getting a ton of new restaurants. It's just rapid
It's
growth
exploding.
there. It's exploding. So and it shows with the prices. There's a lot of demand there. So that's why you saw the 14% increase year over year in that area.
When you think about Foley, though, if you go just to the east or just to the west, you have little towns that many people, they've been coming to the beach here forever and ever. They've never heard of little towns like Alberta, Lillian, Magnolia Springs. All of these are charming areas, but small. I mean, they're here, though, and they are beautiful. As growth expands northward, you can imagine it's got only one place to go.
Well, you mentioned Alberta. Do we have Alberta in
We
here?
do have Alberta. And so Alberta last year was 324, and this year is 362. Again, it's a little skewed over the others because some of the waterfront properties are in Alberta. They tend to have a higher price. But if you want to know something specific about a city in Baldwin County, reach out to us through the Gotti page, Gulf Shores Connect, and we'll get you that information. We know how to pull it together for you.
There are a lot of vibrant, beautiful towns here in Baldwin County, Gulf Coast, Alabama. We'd love to help you find one.
Absolutely. Thanks, ladies.
Thanks.